Wake up with America's Morning News, 6 a.m. on KSMX. Wake up with America's Morning News, 6 a.m. on KSMX. Each new day in this crazy and somewhat disturbing country of ours comes that one story. The headline that, when you hear it, only one comes to mind. And it's not a bad one at all. It has to do with the Obama's latest vacation, which U.S. News and World Report says is going to cost the taxpayers millions of dollars. They say at the time when many cash-strapped are stuck at home instead of vacationing at the beach, President Obama will lead an entourage of several dozens to exclusive Martha's Vineyard Island at a cost of millions of taxpayers, while technically he is paying for the estimated $50,000 a week rental of the 28-acre beachfront Blue Heron Farm in Woodsy Chilmark. The dozens of U.S. Secret Service agents, communications officials, top aides, drivers, even U.S. Coast Guard personnel with him will be covered by taxpayers, as with every other presidential vacation. His 11-day stay will require a Coast Guard presence in the form of ships that will be floating near the Obama farm out in the ocean. A presidential helicopter and a jet at the ready, and security agents on 24-hour duty. Armored SUVs, dubbed war wagons, have been flown in to carry the presidential family around the island. It was the same way when former President George Herbert Walker Bush visited Kennebunkport and Bill Clinton visited Martha's Vineyard. I'd also point out that those were pretty good economic times back then. I'd like to know from you, what do you think of the fact that the president takes vacations like this, $50,000 a week to rent a 28-acre beachfront Blue Heron Farm? It is his money. I mean, he made it fair and square by writing books about himself, I guess. So at least we've got that one for you, President Obama. 866-439-5277. Send your emails to talk@larslarson.com. I did get a few emails from people who were, well, taking issue, and probably appropriately so, with the fact that we gave props and kudos to the young man, Boy Scout, who found himself lost out of doors and in Utah, and he managed to put together a little shelter. Christine writes in and says, Lars, we're giving kudos to a boy that learned how to build a crude shelter to protect himself, but I have an issue with him being lost in the beginning. Why was he alone? The boys were taught from Cub Scouts all the way along to Explorer Scouts, the buddy system. Never are they to be alone. They are to always have a buddy with them. He should not have taken off by himself. He should have stayed with his group, and especially with his buddy. He was advised by his leader to get a buddy. He did not follow his leader. We're giving kudos to a boy that did not honor several scout rules. Listen to your leader. Always use the buddy system. I'm glad he's safe, and we should not reward him for being disobedient and for making him a hero. And then this one, Lars, I'm very glad the boy's been found, but the claims that he did everything right are plain wrong. Scouting teaches if you become lost, stay put. You walked 4 miles, which expanded the search area considerably, and that's a problem as well. Shannon Gosling joins us now, Executive Director for the Southeastern Legal Foundation. Shannon, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Well, one of my big frustrations is talking about these EPA rules. I wanted to make sure that I understand, and you're the specialist here. What it is that the EPA is going to do. Over the weekend, I had a few friends, and I had some friends who were of a different political persuasion, and they said, well, what would you do? You wanted to improve the economy. I said, I'd take all those EPA drugs and pretty good for a while and stop, constantly trying to make things better. They're getting better on their own right now. What should we expect?
You're exactly right. We are getting better. We have an informed consumer base and electorate that make demands that our corporate community be environmentally conscientious. The EPA has run amok. The costs associated with the regulations that are in place right now large. There's going to be the tune of $1 trillion over the next 20 years, and it's going to cost us between 4 and 10 million jobs. And the corporate community is already making their exit strategy to have manufacturing leave the United States and go to places like China and India. You cannot save the world by regulating the United States, if in fact the world needs saving, and that's a whole question in and of itself. And I think that's the real question is why do we have regulations that are premised on bad science, and why are we going into a global cooling period and we're going to regulate global warming?
By the way,
that seems a little odd.
Shannon, I know that you're in the southeastern part of the United States. I'm in the Northwest, and they're talking about how we've had a record cool summer, and one summer is not going to make a climate. I understand that, but if you accept the idea, the basic idea they come out with, which is we've increased the amount of CO2, and we have irrevocably changed the amount of heat that the Earth will absorb and then, and not give up as quickly as we did before because of CO2. We should not be having record cold. Mount Rainier, which is near Seattle, is having, a record spell of cold, additional snow. I mean, stuff they haven't seen in 30 and 40 and 50 years. It seems to me that having policies aimed at having more expensive power generation and less of it is not the smartest way to go into a cold spell.
That's right. It's very poor decision-making for the well-being of the United States and the citizenry. Just having economic example, but this is just about the environment and the economy. And I would say, let's address the economy and the environment at the same time. But don't pretend that you're going to solve a problem that you're not going to solve, because the truth is the EPA has already admitted that the regulations that put in place are not going to take effect whatsoever on the environment or the climate, but they're claiming they have to do it. So now these regulations are going to do damage. So now you have boneheaded regulations that are going to destroy the economy and cost you and I increases like 1,000 times more your energy. I mean, this is the kind of sort of thing we're talking about. But one of the things that I think is very interesting is that we're acknowledging the fact that we're going into an increased sunspot period. And the last time we had this was in the 60s, 40s, where it was called the Little Ice Age. And what it does is it increases the coolness of the planet and reduces arable land. And one of the things that comes with that is, not being able to produce food. So now you've got increased energy costs. You're going to have limited food supply worldwide, and you're going to cost the United States all of their jobs. So this is the plan for the Obama administration and the EPA. I'm not convinced that this is a good idea on any front. You're not going to save the environment. You're going to destroy the economy, and you're going to basically bankrupt everybody in the United States.
And yet, generically, the president, I watched him this morning when he stopped on this bus tour he's taking. He told the crowd that, first of all, he claimed that he turned the American car industry around, and I thought, well, yeah, you may have turned it around. One is now a government-owned entity, and the other one is, has been given away to the Italians, and Fiat now controls Chrysler. But then he said we couldn't just bail them out and then let them make whatever kind of cars they want. We had to tell them that we need to have electric cars that will be powered by solar and wind. And every time I hear him talking about that, I'm convinced he knows nothing about the economics of how much energy it takes to power those things and how ridiculously expensive wind and solar are compared to nuclear and coal.
That's true. And the real question is that isn't everything in its time, which means that if the American people want an environmentally conscientious corporate community, we will create that expectation. If we want our members of Congress to pass legislation, we will elect them. But you should not be able to have, and I feel very strongly about this, whether it's on any topic, whether somebody says, I believe in global warming or I don't, what should